Yeah, so up on stream, you can see a tweet that Zarya made after the Dortmund and PSG Champions League game, where Sancho admittedly they played well. He played well. He was, chopping people up on the outside, getting the ball in, creating good chances. Should have had an assist. I can't remember who it was, put it over the bar. But this is a good thing for Sancho, and this is a good thing for United at the same time, because he's increasing his value playing well on these big stages and get to the semifinals, possibly finals of Champions League. And he wants to leave. He wants to go to a different club. He's openly, publicly stated he does not want to come back to United. And recently he's talked about not wanting to come back, whether Ten Hag's there or not. I feel like he would want to come back if Ten Hag wasn't there, because I do think they have beef. But what is the beef even about? Like this tweet here, it's about saying Ten Hag was in the wrong or maybe didn't create the environment that Sancho would be successful in. But Sancho didn't even show up to training for 3 months in a row. Like, he just didn't come.
Even the mentality, like, United is a big club. Why should we have to cater to every little player and like, oh my god, make sure you're feeling a bit? No, like, the pressure's on you. We expect results. Get your ass to training. You train hard and you go and all out.
Yeah, and this all, and he showed up late to training. He didn't show up for multiple months to train. Just didn't show up, and it all stemmed from a press conference that Ten Hag had. It was after the Arsenal game about whether or not, or why Sancho wasn't in the starting lineup, wasn't in the team sheet. Ten Hag simply he just said, he isn't in there because the levels at training weren't there. He has to meet a certain level at training, and he didn't, and he wasn't in the team sheet. And Sancho goes off and tweets some sob story, and then doesn't show up to training for 3 months. I mean, it's just not a United player. That's nothing. That's not the manager's fault. The manager expects him to show up and train well. If he's not training well, he's not going to pick him. Do better. He just doesn't have the mindset. But ultimately, Sancho doing well in the Champions League is good for everybody.
Zarya replied, but Ten Hag publicly slandered him in the press. Yeah, he showed bad attitude, but you never took it public, especially if you're the manager. So he's basically saying that Ten Hag should have never made whatever was going on behind the scenes public.
But what's the problem with saying, when he's directly asked about Sancho, why he wasn't in the team sheet, his answer was he didn't meet the levels in training. When is that a bad thing? Like, I just don't understand that. I mean, that's every time you don't play, it's because you're not doing well enough.
Zarab says Rashford went out clubbing and missed training earlier this season. Ten Hag didn't take that to the public.
Yeah, that was
the public put it in the public.
Yeah, it was also disputed whether or not that was even true.
Oh, so that could have been rumors?
Yeah, yeah, that was at a time when news was slow. There was nothing coming out about the ownership takeover. News was slow, and they just needed something because we were doing shit. They just picked something out.
And Zaryab says, nah, it's true. It was on his brother's Instagram story, and they were in a club in Belfast. This weekend.
I wasn't saying that wasn't true. I'm saying the fact that it affected his training or anything like that. Like, it's not like he was showing up late to training and everything. Yeah, he can go clubbing. I don't give a fuck, as long as he shows up to training and does what he's supposed to do. Which Sancho was probably clubbing with him, but he wasn't showing up to training on time. And then he just didn't come to training for 3 months. It's not acceptable as a United player. Just because the manager says your levels weren't right at training.
Says Brad, I do agree with that. Sancho has bad attitude sometimes, but so do a lot of players. Ten Hag needs to manage their personalities better. That's all.
And so this is where I think my point comes back. It's Manchester United. We shouldn't have to manage all these personalities. You should come.
Yeah, maybe we need players with better personalities. Yeah, maybe that's the issue.
Hag doesn't need to manage these. They just need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just my personal opinion. I know football is changing now. I mean, I know these young kids coming in, I don't even know what the hell it would be like to manage those guys. But I understand the player FC is becoming more popular, but that's just still not how I see it.
Would y'all take Sancho back at Manchester United?
No, I would take Greenwood back before I take Sancho.
Yeah, and that's another point. Like, I'm not defending anything that Greenwood or Antony did, but why is Antony just like allowed to come back and just be on the team and nobody talk about it? But Greenwood was this whole big situation. I mean, they did like the exact same thing.
Was it because there's like more like evidence actually out there?
Yeah,
Like,
there was
publicly?
definitely there was the public evidence definitely, changed the situation for one over the other. But I really don't understand that. Yeah, Zaryab, I really do think that, like, similar to what Ranić said, open heart surgery, we need every single one of these players with this attitude of, I'm bigger than the club. It's the same thing that Ten Hag was saying in that interview with Neville. When things are bad, players get more injuries. When things are good, players have less injuries. I think the mentality of these players, why we've had so many injuries, have they all, absolutely not been able to play? Probably not. But things are going bad. Their mentality's down. The attitude just isn't there to win, and that's not what we need at United. And I think Sancho is similar player, to the Rashfords. And not saying Rashford needs to go. I think he needs to change
I know,
change of mindset.
but like here's the thing, because I know this has been said in, I guess, like with our generation of like football and all that, player power, and like how much power the player actually has. How do you actually combat that and, I guess, manage it effectively?
Watch this. Lower wages, because Rashford's getting 400,000 British pounds a week. It's lower wages and it's incentive based bonuses. It's you score this many goals, your contract goes up this much. Your bonus goes up this much, but you're only making this much a week. Like, that's the way it has to be. That's the way any business runs.
You just
In
don't
my
give
opinion.
them the money for just upfront.
Yeah, because players like Rashford and Maguire, another one. These are guys that sign the contract and are like, I fucking made it. I'm making 300,000 British pounds a week.
All right, so I think we
Even
got
like
two
the-
examples of like extremes right now. Maybe with y'all kind of towards like the upper end with giving like a ridiculous amount of money, and then you could maybe even make the argument with Chelsea maybe paying a little bit too
Stupid
low,
contracts.
because most of their players are under 100K, maybe like 80, somewhere around there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
I think
Foden,
Chelsea have done it right on the wages side.
where like incentives are really good and they're actually like achievable. You just gotta bust your ass now and make
Yeah.
it happen.
Yeah, you can't be complacent. You can't sit back. You can't sit on the sideline. I think that's a very attainable solution. Zaryab says, if Rashford can stay with a change of mindset, can Jadon Sancho not do the same? No, I don't think so. I think Jadon Sancho, we needed him those 3 months when we had terrible injury problems, and he chose to not train and play. Rashford never did that.
It's even like the mentality ones. Like if you look at like at United, the players that didn't like when Ronaldo was around, because the man's got the elite mentality. And if you look at who actually was like loved having him around and learned from him, was Garnacho.
Yeah, I mean that's another big piece. Some of these interviews that these guys do. Ronaldo did that one interview with Piers Morgan, which I hate that guy, but love Ronaldo. But he did say that the players didn't listen. Nobody there listened to him. Nobody wanted to listen. They were all in their own mindset, their own head.
Like
that's
how much of
another
a head ass you gotta
That's
be? to not
crazy
listen,
though.
I
to
know.
not listen to
Imagine
one of
that.
the best ballers.
You got
probably
hands
of our
down probably.
lifetime.
Yeah, you got one of the best footballers of our generation, our lifetime, and he's trying to give you advice, and you're too in your own fucking head to even listen to what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, and the fact that he's even trying to give you advice is huge. Like some of these guys just they don't have to do that. Like, you think Zlatan was doing that? No, he was doing his own thing. but he's leading by example. When you see Ronaldo, at the gym at Carrington at 6 in the morning, the rest of you guys should be at Carrington at 6 in the morning with Ronaldo at the gym. I doubt they were doing that. Stuff like that. They just weren't listening. They weren't following.
Well, it's like just example, like Cavani when he was there. And it's was 35, 36, chasing people down on the front end. And we got these 23, 24-year-olds not even willing to do that.
Yeah, people who are still at the club. Players from that generation who are still at the club. Nothing has changed, and we keep changing managers. Get rid of the players.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I understand, it's like to get rid of the players, but to who though?
Obviously, you can't offload everyone in one summer, right?
No, yeah, but like at the same time, like to who though? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't know what. I mean, I heard that PSG is looking at Rashford, but
no,
not anymore. Like, I don't know why you would pick him up. Why the fuck would you pick him up? And especially with the wages that he's on as well.
Nobody will pay him now.
Exactly. So I think also like Manchester United, they're kind of in a situation where like, yeah, they maybe want to get rid of some of their players, but at the same time, like, who the fuck wants to pick them up?
Well, let me tell you who's going to go. We need a lot of players to go. It's going to be Greenwood, McTominay, Maguire, Varane, Casemiro. Who is it? Van de Beek, Pellistri. I mean, that's 8 players right there. That need, or Ericsson.
Gallo will probably go.
These are players that need to go. Players that should have gone, last year before, who are still at the club. Wan-Bissaka. I mean, these players need to go. Martial. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I mean, these players have done nothing for the club. What has Martial done for the club this year? What has he done last year?
I've seen him play.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that he sits on his ass. Granted, he's injured. I don't know what the hell he's got going on. But another player that's making 200,000+ British pounds a week. That's what I'm saying. It's already. That's why I said at the beginning, your tweet was a good starting point for a bigger conversation.